hundreds and thousands of criminals in Nigeria. These are some of the top 10 most dangerous Nigerian kidnappers that would forever remain on top of the radar. I'm Rukaya Alamin, and you are watching the Top 10 Crime Show. Number 10, the Akwa Ibom 7. A police is one that swears under oath to serve and protect the lives and property of a people. However, 4 policemen were arrested with 3 other criminals to stage the kidnapping of a young woman in Akwa Ibom with the help of her friend. CPI Basi Sunday, CPI Emmanuel, Charlie PC Inform, Moses Itohu, Fidelis Onyeme, and Johnny were all convicted on 3 counts of kidnapping and conspiracy to commit felony and sponsoring kidnapping. They were all sentenced to death. However, the victim's friend pleaded not guilty to conspiracy, but her gang gave up by saying she staged everything and gave them her friend's home address. They were later captured by the anti-kidnap unit of the state CID at the ransom collection address after changing the venue 3 times, but were still captured and immediately booked into custody. While he was striking to the police after learning 4 of their own were involved in such a heinous crime, it's best we all be careful of those we call friends. Number 9, Lokoja Abuja kidnap heist. 4 of the kidnappers along Lokoja Kaduna Road were captured after some passengers were kidnapped during a shootout on their journey. The driver was forced to stop after a series of bullets were fired by the kidnappers. They took some hostages and ran into the bush, but thankfully eyewitnesses made distress calls to the Abuja police unit and they swung into action. 4 of the culprits were arrested and some hostages were released. Stories like this really makes me want to stay indoors and just eat my popcorn. Number 8, Oga Marvelous. Marvelous took an audacious plan to kidnap the mother of a minister in 2012 after coming back to Nigeria from Ghana broke and desperate. He thought the best business to venture into was kidnapping. He hooked up with old friends already in the business and got to work. But unfortunately, he was paid less than he thought he deserved. So he set out alone and recruited his own gang and got to work. It was moving successfully until he decided to bite more than he could chew. But as luck may has it, the kidnapping of the mother of a former minister, Okonjo Iweala, went as planned, even though he thought the federal government would hand him free money as ransom for Mama Okonjo. Fortunately, he got 2 ransoms on the old woman consecutively, but his luck soon ran out after kidnapping of another woman and killing her during captivity. Police later wrapped Marvelous and his entire gang and was charged with numerous kidnapping, murder, and conspiracy to commit kidnapping. Number 7, the River State Gang. After a kidnap of a female assistant controller of customs in River State, Abakari got even more furious and quickly swung into action. I mean, everyone is sick of these guys, but Abakari was not having it. Although 5 million in ransom was paid to the gang, the kidnappers walked right into the trap of the authorities with the help of technical intelligence. And within 24 hours of her initial release, the first suspect was arrested, followed by the remaining gang members after about 72 hours. And all 7 suspected kidnappers were arrested and charged. Todi Barina, Zigabari Vunu, Dele Kunewu, Maxwell Barindum, Justice Afangidi, God's Power Kinem, and Olodofin Yakubu has killed many, kidnapped many, and traumatized the victims' loved ones, but were finally arrested and taken into custody. But the gang leader is still at large. However, they are cooperating fully with the authorities to capture their gang leader. Number 6, the sibling devils. 2 siblings, Chinaza and Emeka, were said to have connived to kidnap their own father for ransom. Now the question is, who is paying for the ransom? As if that is not enough, the female sibling recruited her boyfriend for the deed, and in turn, he will use his share of the money to pay for her bride price. How stupid. Well, they were arrested during the investigation of the death of an ex-cop member in Imo State. Number 5. The cops kidnappers. We all hope to finally have peace when we die. So it's disheartening to know that there is a chance that some lunatics will still want to kidnap your dead body for ransom. 38 years old Chukwudi Chukwu and 28 years old Ibe Bethel kidnapped a dead body from the morgue in Jesus Hospital, Imo State. These guys literally don't even have any respect for Jesus, doing something like that under his watch. They then contacted the mortuary manager and demanded for 5 million naira in ransom. Amazingly, one of them was a worker at the hospital. The manager quickly contacted the authorities and an investigation was launched. Wait, hold on. What would happen if the demand was denied? Definitely not kill a person that is already dead. So are you thinking what I'm thinking? Well, they were immediately apprehended after a raid by the police. The culprits cooperated with the police and gave information about other gang affiliates. They were sentenced to a maximum of 20 years in state prison. Number 4. Hadijat Kabir. Now, since kidnapping has become the booming business in Nigeria, a woman decided it was time to make her own millions out of it by staging her own kidnapping and demanding her husband for ransom. She recruited her friend, the friend's husband, and his elder brother, and even a police-free operation after a visit to Ogun State. But how do you rescue a person that is not in trouble in the first place? Well, her husband Kabir was asked to pay 15 million naira to get his wife and daughter back. But because he couldn't arrange for such a huge amount of money, he decided to go straight to the police and an investigation was launched on the case. The gang were traced and captured in Ogun State, and Hadijat later confessed to conspiring her own kidnap, saying her husband had abandoned her and her sick daughter, and she had no option better than staging her own kidnapping, which of course went wrong. 2 were arrested, including Hadijat, while Wasiu, the native doctor, Lukman and Josie are still at large. But I trust the police are doing all they can to bring the culprits to justice. Number 3. Alhaja Hamisubala Wadime from Taraba State. In an ironic manner, Wadime was captured by the authorities and also freed by the authorities. As confusing as it may sound, the notorious kingpin was set to free from detention by soldiers. Now, I don't know what to make of this, and whether or not his rescuers were soldiers is even more alarming. Setting free a criminal to do harm to others is against the law. But I guess, what do they care? In the verge of freeing him, they opened a firefight where 3 policemen were shot dead and 2 other civilians. Shortly after his release by the soldiers that helped him escape, the police went on a wild manhunt to recapture the convicted kidnapper. He was later apprehended in Kano State and brought back to the FCT to await trial. Number 2. Evans the kidnapper. Chukwudi Dumemed, popularly known as Evans from Anambra State, is said to be one of the most richest kidnappers in the country. He has made millions, bought luxury houses and cars by simply making the lives of others a living nightmare. Even though Evans was a victim of kidnapping himself, the only lesson he learned was taking advantage of innocent, hardworking Nigerians like Mr. Paul Cole, Mr. Muhammad Jamal, Leo Abraham, Donatus Dunu, Francis Ume, and many more. Even though he had been on police watch lists for years, Evans was very smart and tactical in his dealings, making his capture all the more difficult. He was later arrested on June 2017 along with many of his accomplices during a firefight at one of his houses in Lagos where he keeps his captives. As people jubilated his arrest, he was charged for murder, extortion, kidnapping, and conspiracy to commit kidnap. After about 8 years, finally, people were able to take some breath of relief and security. Number 1. Boko Haram. This is a jihadist terrorist group that have existed in Nigeria for over a decade. It is said to be the largest kidnapping operation in the history of Nigeria. They are a well-organized crime division leaning on fake and false Islamic teachings. They are spread in other African countries like Niger, Chad, Cameroon, but is gradually losing hold of much of the countries. It was founded by Mohammed Yusuf in 2002 and has been led by Abubakar Shakau since 2009. Boko Haram has kidnapped hundreds, killed thousands, and displaced well over 2.3 million from their homes, making them Nigeria's deadliest terrorist and kidnapping operations back to back. Boko Haram were responsible for the abduction of 276 girls in Chibok, Borno, over 27 attacks around Nigeria, and killed more than 1,000 innocent people across the country. The authorities continues to work day in, day out to apprehend the deadliest gang that has been sweeping away the future of the country with their actions. Until then, be safe. Don't forget to like, share this video, drop your comment, and most importantly, swipe up to subscribe. I'm Rukaya Alamin, and see you next week on the Top Crime Show.